A high-level joint UN-AU delegation, headed by the UN Deputy Secretary General Ms. Amina Mohammed, conducted a two-day solidarity mission to Eritrea from 25 to 26 October 2019 to highlight the critical role of women's meaningful participation in peace, security, and development. Accompanied by the Minister of Health, Ms. Amina Nur Hussein, the joint UN-AU delegation headed straight to Nafasit from the airport to see firsthand the Nafasit Kamhare Sarha Road Work Project site under construction to bolster the economic integration and lasting peace between Eritrea and Ethiopia. The tour proceeded to the Misalam Dam in Zovadubub, where the delegation were briefed on the purpose of the dam that will play a huge role in women economic empowerment through the provisions of water for household and agriculture. In her comments to the media, Ms. Amina Mohammed underlined that Eritrea has done a lot on development with its own resources, unlike many countries in our world today that have done none with more opportunities.
We experienced the investments that Eritrea is making in infrastructure, the road that will connect with Ethiopia. We also saw a multi-purpose dam, which for us is really important when we see the importance you put for water and you're actually putting your own investments in. Exciting about that was the young people, engineers that are coming from Eritrea, but from the diaspora as well. We ended up in a dairy farm, and that was, seeing entrepreneurship from a woman who's working with her family and who has the quality of a product that is second to none. This is equal on, the global stage. So very, very exciting field visit.
Here we have seen a country that have been resilient despite a lot of challenges, but showing the world that, they are building their own economy. And they have put women, because we are saying women are equal to men, because they can do everything that men can do. So when we talked to the champion this morning, who is the head of state of this country, he showed us that this is normal. There is nothing that you could advocate for, because for us Eritrean, the women are at the forefront. They fought the liberation, they fought the war, but now they are the one even in the field doing agriculture, doing everything.
I think from my and my colleagues' perspective, it was a very successful mission. It's been a long time now since we had that level of the UN visiting the country. And this is a very important moment also for the country, for the region more generally. And it was wonderful that she could come here and undertake the discussions that she undertook. Very, very good mission.
Upon embarking on a drive to Halhale, the delegation paid a visit to the Asia Dairy Farm, a woman-owned enterprise, where they received a briefing of the company's overall successes in engaging with both local and international markets.
Their presence today is a testament to the growing engagement and cooperation between Eritrea and the United Nations. This visit comes at a time when Eritrea, having successfully negotiated 20 difficult years, has embarked on the third phase, what we call the third phase of the nation-building project, focused on ensuring the dignity of our citizens and the economic liberation of our nation by pursuing a strategy of developing our human resources at home and abroad. This visit also comes at a time when the Horn of Africa neighborhood, as well as the wider region, are moving away from a period of conflict and towards a new era of peace, stability, cooperation, and integration.
From dams to farms, to roads and ports, building bridges to connect people and expand services and opportunities is part of the SDGs, which the UN and AU are prepared to accompany Eritrea in its journey of meeting social justice. Ms. Amina Mohammed made these salient remarks at a reception held in honor of the delegation in the evening hours of the same day at the Hotel Asmara Palace.
We really are coming at a time when there's a rebirthing of a nation. Our joint mission with the African Union was about women, peace and security and development. But this is really about the development bit, because peace has dawned, and what we have to do is to try to hold on to the gains of peace and walk across that bridge to sustainable development. And that's really what we saw this morning when we went out into the field. Infrastructure projects that hopefully will go across the borders and will strengthen the region and the leadership that's been shown more recently in the Horn. But we also saw what is a necessity for life, water, and water being used in a way in which dams are constructed for multi-purpose use. We then saw individuals with an aspiration, and through the years, a dairy farm that started from chickens developing into dairy products that are second to none in the world, and I can tell you that because we had a feast this morning. So it has been a real pleasure to start the trip like that. But what I think was more impressive for us is that meeting so many of the ministers here. It was a tight trip, and we sort of went in like revolving doors to see each one of our ministers. Was really the purpose, the commitment, the direction of shaping the narrative of the state of Eritrea and making it very clear about where it is the international community, the continent, needs to get behind, and to get behind with ambition, with urgency, and with a scale that doesn't leave anyone behind in the state of Eritrea. And I think that that's a big change. That really is a wind of change. In those discussions, every one of our honourable ministers went past Eritrea. They went past Eritrea to the continent, and they talked about what the leadership could do to join hands in really making it a new dawn for every one of the countries in the Horn. And beyond that, how this could make a difference to the continent, and we know when the continent rises, so does the world. So it's really been inspirational for us today, and I know I just want to give my deep appreciation for welcoming us, for opening up your hearts, your minds, to where you think Eritrea should be here on in, and how the young generation can carry that torch, and how we can help join that journey for peace, for prosperity, and for a growth that everyone should learn from. So thank you very much.
Today we are here to make sure that we have that linkages between the UN, the African Union, the region, but also here in Eritrea. To sit down, to know what we have done wrong. It's always good to say what we have done wrong, or how we can learn from each other, and how we can make sure that we lift the agenda of peace, security, and development. Because we came straight and went to the field. And we like that, both of us and all of us. We went to see the dam. Impressive. I have traveled all over. Didn't see it. We were very impressed. So we were taking pictures. We say that the whole world should know. We should change the narrative. We have seen agriculture, even though the dam is there and yet to be, going all over. But we saw agriculture possibility and opportunities. We see the women that are leading that transformation. And we see solar energy. So we say, wow, in one region, what will happen if we do it everywhere? So we see an Eritrea that is transforming, an Eritrea that is making sure that the whole world will know what you have done to resist. At the African Union, we would love to see you and to work with you to make sure that we have exchange our experience from Liberia, from Sierra Leone. The women, we call ourselves the women in crisis, that all of us together. We wanted to see the Eritrean women with all African women together to fight side by side and to transform this continent.
The following day, the joint UN-AU delegation met with President Isaias Afwerki at Adihalo. During the meeting, President Isaias Afwerki underlined that the joint high-level visit was testimony to the deepening of cooperation and engagement between Eritrea and the UN. The president further elucidated Eritrea's trajectory experience in the national liberation struggle and subsequent phase of nation building.
We ended with very inspiring discussions with the President this morning, who also reiterated what has been learned from a journey through war and isolation into one of peace, and the importance of keeping the peace, not just for Eritrea, but for the regional integration, the Horn of Africa, and the rest.
The joint UN-AU delegation held a series of meetings during its 2 days working visit with Ministers of Justice Ms. Fozia Hashim, National Development Dr. Gergish Mikhail, Minister of Information Ms. Yamana Gabra Maskal, Minister of Labor and Social Welfare Ms. Lul Gabrab, as well as President of the National Union of Eritrean Women Ms. Tigha Tesfa Mikhail. At the meeting, extensive discussion was conducted focusing on Eritrea's developmental progress, endeavors being undertaken to meet the Sustainable Development Goals, women's vital role in all these areas, as well as effective measures that should be taken to rectify and reverse Africa's marginalization.
Speaking with your ministers, who are very focused on the priorities of this country, that are coming out of a war into peace, and being very focused on what those priorities are. And I think that's what we wanted to hear, because that's what we need to support our country teams and our representation at the regional and the global level.
During her discussions with the ministers, Ms. Amina Mohammed applauded Eritrea's developmental achievements through mobilization of internal resources and asserted readiness of the UN to support the Eritrea-Ethiopia peace agreement that has created conducive climate in the whole region of Africa as the process transitions towards concrete cooperation. The delegation also held a roundtable meeting with young women professionals in Asmara, addressing empowerment and education for best end results. At the meeting, Ms. Amina Mohammed shared a message from her discussion with President Isaias that the region as a whole can be shaped by meaningful engagement of women in all sectors.
What better note than to come to speaking with young people and with the National Union of Eritrean Women, who have been on the in the forefront of the fight for freedom, but also now would be the fight for development, sustainable development. That's a challenge, and it's to find what is the seamless transition from one generation to another. Young people at the forefront with their vision, with their energy, with their capacities, how to build them, how to strengthen them, and how to make sure that you are truly in a place where you can show what it is that Eritrea has done and what you can do. Both for Africa and for the globe itself.
The joint UN-AU delegation has also conducted similar visits to Somalia, Ethiopia and Djibouti.
I think I would say there are three things that you can share with the world. The first is I think what we saw and we felt, the unity. There are not many countries right now that are as unified as you are. And I think that the next generation has to share that with their generation across your borders, because you're better together than you are divided. I think that's important. The second is the government's approach to inequality. In many, many countries right now, inequality is a root cause of many of the disruptions and injustices that we see. So your way of looking and investing in your people as the resource that you have, and then to see how you can exploit for the people the resources, so inequality. And last, certainly by no means least, whatever you have gained as a dividend of your past must be carried in as a dividend of peace, and that is on the gender equality. You have it in so many places. Do not take it for granted. Protect it, and make sure the next generation is holding on to it tight as well.